You have waited long enough not to be ready, not to be good enough, not for perfection. You've waited long enough to just be. You need to just be the real you. You've waited long enough to just be real. It's time to stop hiding, to stop looking for the perfect thing, the stuff, the what, the it, all those kind of things, and just really truly be present, be here, be consistent, be visible, be valuable. And today we are going to do that. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 38 books and counting. I help folks write, publish, market their books to bestseller. But really what I do with the 5,000 people I've worked with and all of the you that I'm going to work with next is I help you be visible and valuable. I help you understand that someone is waiting on you, that you absolutely were created for a purpose, that you need to show up on purpose, that the world needs you. We need you right now, not 2 minutes from now, not a year from now, not when you get around to it, not when all of the things that flow through all of our minds come into perfect alignment. Maybe you're in a place like I find myself currently where, money isn't at the place that you need it to be. And it's really easy to focus on that. And that honestly is a distraction. Maybe you're in a place where your health, like mine, still is in the process of doing. And you have that as that sexy excuse to not go and do and be the things that you were born for, you were meant to be. And that's what in the end it is. It's an excuse. It's a really sexy reason to not. Maybe you feel too young. Maybe you feel too old. Maybe you're too this, too that. I was having this great conversation with my good buddy Willie J, who's one of my business partners, and I just love working with him. And I love the fact, there's the old song "Ebony and Ivory" that was back from the '80s, and we were talking about the diversity inside of his company's called Pure Mission Entertainment. And I love the diversity that God brings together in the things that we do together. It's people of all ages. If you look at our book that we did at, I guess that was Thanksgiving-ish, give or take. I want to say we put it out at Thanksgiving. Time flies by so quick. And it was called Winning with Love. And we're going to do some more Winning with Love books. If you'd like to be in a life world transforming book, and this is not me shamelessly pitching you, you need to let us know, because we want to put you in a book and make you a bestseller and share your amazingness. And that will be the next Winning with Love book. And if you look at the cover of that, we put the authors on the cover, which is not normal for a collaboration book. It's kind of our thing. And we did that because, there's young and there's old and there's black and there's white and there's a Hispanic lady that was in it. The next book, we need to get, people from even a couple other countries in there. We're all about the real concept of diversity. And that is everybody has their own unique, diverse thing that they bring to the world. Because right below this skin, I love the song that Toby Mac and I think it's Toby and Mandisa and Kirk Franklin. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I love the song they did that says, "We all bleed the same." When you cut yourself and that red blood comes out, it's not like in, the original Star Trek series where, Vulcans had green blood. We're all just human beings on this planet making a difference. And we all have our sexy excuses. Okay? Our reasons to be what I call deliciously miserable. I coined that phrase because of my little dog Mocha. All of you that know me, you know how much I love my little Mocha. But there are times when she just loves being miserable. And it's usually has to do with a crust from pizza or something like that. And she just has to find the perfect place to hide it. And she doesn't want anybody to see. If you look and you're like, oh, that's where you put it, then she'll go and dig it back up and take it out of there. And she walks around the house with the pizza crust sticking out of her mouth. It's absolutely adorable. Just going, ooh, 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 ooh. And I call that deliciously miserable. She wouldn't want it anywhere. She's begged for that crust. And, anywhere from a day to a month from now, she'll dig that crust out when it's all hard, rock hard and crunchy, and she'll crunch on it, just like she found her own personal quote unquote pizza bone, which is what a friend of mine used to call it back in the day. And a lot of times we get in that place too. We beg for the delicious misery that we put ourselves through. And we beg and plead and fight and argue for all the reasons why we want to stay right where we are, to not change, for all the reasons why we can't afford to do it. We don't have the help to do it. We don't have the time to do it. All of those kind of things. And on the one hand, they're all completely valid. I don't want you to feel dissed at all. The things you're going through in your life are very real, very raw, very genuine, very much something that you're absolutely dealing with. I totally get that. I have a bunch of those things in my life too. And although I share with you about them, probably too open and candidly, I'm that person. If you put me in a circle of people in a sharing circle, everybody else is sharing at a level 1 and I drop straight to a level 5 or a level 10 or whatever. I'm just like, if we're going to share, let's go for it. Let's get to know each other. It gets me in problems sometimes because, people I'll meet online or in person, either way, and very quickly they feel very close to me. And I like that. Other than when the person is like, I think I'm falling in love with you. And I'm like, let's just slow down a little bit here, okay? Let's be friends. Yes, I absolutely do believe that God has a forever love for me and somebody that I can spend the rest of my life waking up next to them and knowing they're just as madly in love with me as I am with them, even while they're asleep. The waves of love pouring off of them. And I believe in that. And I know God has that. But I want that to be cemented under a solid, or over top of, I guess that would be a solid foundation of friendship and really liking each other and of being the best us that we can be in the moment. You see, we're not looking for perfection. And the person that you're meant to help is not looking for you to be perfect. They're looking for you to show up. They're looking for you to be real and be you right here, right now. Here's the truth of the matter. You look at a Tony Robbins or an Oprah Winfrey or a Barack Obama or a TD Jakes or whomever that might be. You know what I mean? I tried to intentionally, cross the realm of a whole bunch of different kind of people. Martha Stewart. The list goes on. Snoop Dogg. Okay. I love it when Martha and Snoop do things together because they're just the perfect, completely impossible yet so cool alliance that the two of them come together. It doesn't matter who that person is that's that, ooh, I want to become them. The truth is that in our own minds, we have this psychological barrier of they're up here and I'm down here. And we just all of us kind of critique ourselves and the world and everybody in the world, and we put them on different levels. That's where the whole stupid concept of rating girls on a 1 to 10 scale comes. This girl's a 5, this girl's a 10, this girl's a 9, those kind of things. Not because we don't all have the things that do attract to us and do detract from us. Those are all totally fine, but the arbitrary scale of somebody's greater or less than me is completely bunk. It's absolute bullshit. Because the truth of the matter is, is the only thing you can be right here, right now, today, is the best you that you can be during this day that we call today. Yesterday's gone. You may have been amazing. You may have changed the world. I've shared stories with you on lives of times that I've been able to be in front of tens of thousands of people speaking. And I've shared with you on lines of times when I've been completely hidden, living as a zombie in my own household, feeling like a stranger amongst the people that I live with. But all of that is the time before this wonderful word that really is the drinking game, and that's the word now. This is what we've got. This is this minute, this now, this take action right here, right now is the only thing that we have. As my friend Ernie Villanueva always said, yesterday's a canceled check, tomorrow's a promissory note, today is the only legal tender we can spend. And I would even go further and say right now is the only currency we have. It doesn't matter whether you have a gazillion dollars in the bank or a gazillion negative dollars in the bank. You still only have the capability to be able to do the one thing. Fix that, pay that bill or make that money or spend that money in the now. From a monetary standpoint, even if, whatever dropped. I'm sure you get these spam things too, where they're like, you have just won. I had one yesterday that was trying to tell me that Facebook has just, and you've won $5 million in a brand new truck and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh yeah, okay. And they're like, oh no, here's actually the truck that they sent you. And it was like a great big, like truck, like a diesel, what we call, what do they call them? Anyway, it was a truck, tractor, is what truck drivers call them. It didn't have the trailer behind it, but it was the tractor. It was the great big truck, And I wrote back and I was like, hey, I mean, that's amazing. Then I have to go out and get a CDL to be able to drive my own truck. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about if on your doorstep, $5 billion dropped on your doorstep right now, you wouldn't be able to spend all of it, not in the minute that is right now. Even if you ran out in the street and gave it away shamelessly with no thought of anything other than just to give it away, that would take you time. That would be how you would be spending that time. Because ultimately, whether you're Warren Buffett or you're, the widow with the one mite that they talk about in the Bible, whether you're Elon Musk or you're the guy that lives down the street on a street corner, you all have the same exact thing in common. And that's this wonderful thing called time. No matter how rich you are, no matter how amazingly powerful you are, you still only get 24 hours in the day. You don't get 24 hours and 1 second more. It's only 24 hours in this thing called today. And how you're going to choose to do that, how you're going to choose to spend that commodity that is the great equalizer. In that particular commerce, there is no scale. Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, I think unless it's changed recently, Elon Musk is technically the richest person in the world right now, or at least the richest person in America. And you could go overseas and you could talk about some oil baron or some, sheik of Kuwait or something like that. No matter how much money there is, they do not get one more second in their 24 hours than you do. There isn't some kind of special blessing where, a rich person gets more hours in the day. Now, yeah, there's some really well-driven people that they only sleep 3 or 4 or 5 hours in the day, and there are others of us who We need a certain amount of, my mom always says that, she needs a minimum of 8 to 9 hours of sleep at night in order to feel right the next day. That isn't I mean, my mom's a hard worker, because on the nights when she can't get good sleep, it's not weird. I mean, it is weird, but it wouldn't be shocking to come out and see her down on her hands and knees scrubbing the floor. And you're asking her what she's doing. She's like, well, it looked a little dirty, so I thought I'd clean it. I'm like, Mom, we own a mop. She's like, yeah, but this is how you do it right. I mean, and she's 80, she'll be 87 next month. So it's not about, if you need more sleep at night, that you're somehow less than. That's another one of those sexy excuses that people who get 3 or 4 or 5 hours of sleep at night use to try to make you feel less than because you need 7 or 8 or whatever hours of sleep. They're all excuses. Do you hear what I'm saying? The only thing that you have that's really real is the real you. It's it. That's it. You can't be who you'll be tomorrow until tomorrow. You can do the things today to be closer to or more of what you want to be tomorrow, but you can't live tomorrow today. You can't be the you that will be you tomorrow today. The reverse of that's true as well. You can't be the 20-year-old. I can't go back to 1985 and be 18 again. That was cool. I was a pretty cool 18-year-old. I was really ready for the world. And there's a lot of mistakes that some of them I've told you, some of them will never be told in public because they don't need to be talked about. There's a lot of mistakes I've made in my life. And I feel bad for that 18-year-old. And yeah, if I could go back in time and apologize to him, and I have, in that psychological premise of forgiving yourself for the mistakes of your past and then moving on. And that isn't to say that sometimes that stuff doesn't come back. You may have to deal with that again, tomorrow or next week or next month. And that's when you then learn, hey, I moved on. I am not that person anymore. I can't be, nor am I that 18-year-old. I'm 58 now. 18 was 40 years ago. That's right. The school that I count as my high school, I actually went to a different school my senior year of high school because my parents moved, but I still count Greenfield Central High School in Greenfield, Indiana as my high school. I kept my class ring from that. And I was invited to the 40-year anniversary, the 40-year class reunion. And I wish I could have gone. And I watched the video of all the pictures that were there and all the kind of things. Would have been cool. And, time-wise, money-wise, all of that, it just didn't work out. But also that was 40 years ago. Part of the whole celebration was also a memorial time for the people that didn't make it these last 40 years. And part of what I hope lights the fire under me, and hopefully you too, is the fact that there are people who did not wake up this morning. Some of them were older than you. Some of them were younger than you. Some of them were born the same exact day that you were. And they didn't make it into this wonderfully amazing day called today. And so they can't show up. If yesterday was their last day, they crossed the tape. They won the race. And however great or little of a victory it was, they won that victory. They were the first place gold medal winner of, I can't talk. Gold medal winner of, oh man, that's hilarious, of their life. But you won this amazing prize called today. What are you going to do with it? Now, maximizing today can mean a whole lot of different things in your life. You were born the year before I graduated. Yeah. And there's people that didn't make it today. Yeah. Thanks for making me feel old, Patricia. I appreciate that. No, seriously. I mean, it is what it is. Maximizing today is about making the most and being the best you that you can be in today. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a hard charger. It does necessarily mean you need to show up. There's no real reason, no excuse for not showing up. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be days when you're going to get sick. Okay. And there will eventually be a time when these consistent, clear connections that I do with you every day to show you rather than tell you you should be, show you how to be visible and valuable. Because the one thing that I know I can do is I can show you in real time every day here on the lives, in rebroadcasts, on the stages that I'm going to be on, all those kind of things. I can show you that one and only simple, powerful thing of how necessary, needed, and purposeful you are, and how to show up. And even if it's just for that one person, because that one person needs you and they're waiting on you. But even with all of that, there will be a time when something will come up. There will be a family emergency. I'll get sick. It happens. It's just life. And in those times, and I should sit down and figure it out. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet. Many of those times, I'll still go live to you. There was a time during COVID where I had a runny nose, and I grabbed a Kleenex like this, and I went, and I wiped my nose, and one of the people watching the live that I was doing was like, "You've got COVID." I was like, "Well, if I've got COVID, then I've had COVID every day of my life." Because one of the things with the allergies that I have, and with sleeping with the CPAP mask, is that, congestion is kind of a normal part of my life. You throw in on top of that, now that I'm in the pool, I'm trying to go every day. I did not go yesterday. I was just totally zonked. I was so worn out yesterday. You might have noticed a little bit of that in my live stream. Tried to still give you a lot of energy. But, that pool water and the chlorine and everything, it's got me even a little bit more congested. You might hear it a little bit. I might be a little more nasally in my voice than normal. It's just the way it is. That doesn't mean you don't show up. I could have stayed in bed all day yesterday. I had appointments. And the number one appointment I had was with you, to spend the time with you, to help remind you. And yesterday we talked about your face, and that the world needs to see your face. Writing posts is awesome. It's amazing. You should do it. Absolutely. Be connected. Go out into groups and add value into the groups. That's a whole part of what I'm teaching you here. Connect with the people where they are. Don't just sit back on a video and go, "Well, I put the video out, so the whole world needs to come to me now because I'm amazing." Reach out, put it in places, repurpose it, do all those kind of things. But at some point, you have to take on, as part of your life, preferably your daily habits and skills, is taking an hour, 5 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever it is, and put your beautiful, bright, shiny face on video right there live. It's as easy as doing like we always do. Pick up the phone. "Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third-generation minister and international best-selling author of 38 books and counting, and I'm here to show you today how to be visible and valuable because someone's waiting on you." Now, I didn't time that, but how long did that take me? Was that 10 seconds even? Was probably closer to 5. That's the minimum pass-through. They need to see your face, your personality, your bright, shiny smile. You might be. I have a friend of mine. In fact, actually, if you watch the radio show, it's on wehelpyouthrive.com. If you want to see this week's radio show, it's going out now across all the syndication on all the different channels. But I did an interview with a good friend of mine, Tanisha. Tanisha does all of her interviews walking. She has a stand-up desk, and she walks the entire time. And I'm talking, we did back to back. She interviewed me for her show, and then I interviewed her for my show. And that was an hour plus. and she was on walking the entire time. I was worn out just watching her. Those of you that know me, you know, I mean, my walking now is at a place where I do about 15 or 20 minutes and then I have to stop and then I do another 15 or 20 minutes. Or I go to the pool now, you know what I mean? But and I'm so far ahead. I mean, this time last year, if I made it to the end of driveway and back, that was a win. So, you know, I mean, wherever you are, 5 seconds on video, 5 hours on video. Maybe you do need to be the next Joe Rogan show. I mean, yeah, Joe Rogan had all the things that he had already done in his career. So he had all kinds of notoriety and stuff like that. So he got more people that were listening to it. But in the end of the day, when he started his podcast, all he really did was bring on one of his buddies, and the two of them smoked pot together and talked about whatever shit came into their mind. I probably didn't need to use that curse word. I try to only use them intentionally. But the point being is that you can do the same thing he did. You could call your best friend and say, hey, let's just go live once a week, every day, whatever that might be, and just talk. Patricia and I, since Patricia's on live, we're actually talking about we want to do a show and we want you to be part of it. We want it to be a call-in show. We want you to call in with your stuff. And we want to put all of the experts. I know so many amazingly great people. You know, I have some really cool people that you really need to meet. You need to meet Tom Moline. Probably none of you knows Tom Moline. Tom Moline's amazing. Tom Moline is the guy that headed up the, I don't think it's illegal for me to tell you this. He's the guy that headed up the task force that updated all of the government computers to make them Y2K compliant. He was the head in charge of that because back in the early 1970s or the mid 1970s, I forget how much older than me he is, he went into the military and was in computers. And he's been, you know, working with the government. He's retired now. Last I knew, he's actually working as a contractor. He was, you know, at one point, I think he's more retired now, and just taking care of his one daughter that has special needs, and is going to live at home. And his wife passed a couple of years ago, so it's just him and his daughter. You know, so I think he pretty well is home all the time now. But, you know, I mean, he retired from all of that technology stuff and was tearing copper piping out of old houses for multimillionaires because it was relaxing for him after all the go, go, go he had done. But Tom's an amazing guy. And I mean, he could go deep. He could explain to you things about the internet and about computer technology that you would not even understand. And I don't care what level you're at, he's on just this whole other stratoverse of it. But more than likely, what he's going to talk to you about is something really simple and basic. Last time I had him on my radio show, I was like, "What do you want to promote, Tom?" And he's like, "I don't want anybody. I don't want to promote anything. I want anybody that was thinking about wanting to work with me to make a donation to Wounded Warriors." He's a military veteran. It's what's important to him. And there are all kinds of people like that Patricia knows, that I know, that have been on my show. I just talked to a guy just before this broadcast. I was talking to a guy who's this amazing real estate developer who's doing like 10 or 12 fix and flips at a time, nonstop, constantly. I want to hear and learn more from him. I want to learn some of the cash flow strategies that he knows that obviously I don't know. There are so many of those kind of people that are out there. And so maybe that's what you need to do with your life. I could give you ideas on and on and on ad infinitum. That was a shameless plug for the thing that Patricia and I are talking about doing, that we'd love to have you be one of the callers and call in and be like, I've got this amazing question and I need to understand why this thing isn't working. And then, you know, between the couple of us that we'll have on the panel that particular day, we're going to give you some insight. You know, I love doing those kind of calls with you. I'd be glad to take that kind of a call with you. Now, I'm going to warn you the same thing that my children would tell you about. You give me any idea, I'm going to be massively excited about it and say, and then you could, because that's how my brain works. I'm an up leveler. That's what I do. I'm in the process of building behind the scenes a mastermind group that will be for people who are already on the top of their game and want to go to the next level. They need somebody that can show them insight, even when they're doing everything that they could possibly do. Because that's just how my brain works. I always say I live in the air in front of the bleeding edge of the spear tip or the arrow point shooting through the air. It's just where my brain is. I was talking about streaming media in the days of a 2400 baud modem. Most of you don't know what that is. Most of you are familiar with a fax machine. A fax machine is 9600 baud, meaning that the modems back in those days were about a third the speed of a fax machine. Okay? And I was talking about streaming media and how you could download a video. Now, the reality of it is that if you had done that, it would have taken you about 2 weeks to download one basic movie, and that was if it was highly compressed. So, in other words, if you wanted to watch a movie on your home computer, you would have had to start now. And of course, you would have had to have a much bigger hard drive than we had back then. You would have had to start now to be able to watch it, not next Friday, but a week after Friday. We don't live in that world anymore. We live in a high-speed world where you just go on demand and you order it from Amazon Prime or your cable company or whatever, and you watch it immediately right now. And you get frustrated whenever it's buffering because we don't want to wait at all. Well, guess what? That felt like a rabbit trail, didn't it? But I talked about that. We don't want to wait at all because the person that's waiting on you doesn't want to wait at all. Because the person who you have insight for needs your insight. They need you. They don't need me. I mean, maybe they do. If they're my person, they need me. But when they're your person, they need you to do that thing that only you can do. You're uniquely brilliant. You're qualified. You're special. You're real. You're raw. You're you. And the only way you're going to meet that person's need is to go out there and meet their need. And the only way you're going to do that is to be there. You got to show up. You got to be visible. That means your bright, shiny face right there in the place wherever they are. Are they on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, now X, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest? The list goes on. Maybe there's somebody that's only on Alignable. I mean, I invited somebody to our Facebook group that's a friend of mine on LinkedIn, actually one of my authors that's on LinkedIn, and he said, yeah, remember, I don't do Facebook. I'm like, oh yeah, I keep forgetting. I mean, it's almost unfathomable to me that somebody doesn't have a Facebook, but some people don't. And if your person doesn't have a Facebook, then, Facebook's not where you want to be. And the same's true with LinkedIn and TikTok and Twitter and all of those. You got to show up where they are. And then you need to be powerfully, effectively there for them. Have I beat this dead horse enough yet? Never beat a horse, not live or dead. Horses are sweet and wonderful, and they should not be beaten. And no, that wasn't a disclaimer for the PETA folks. That was because I think horses are wonderful and sweet. But I need for you. Did that only just crack me up? I'm sorry. I only amuse myself. It's got to be what it's got to be. And what it's got to be is you. You being visible, you being real, and being there to be the you that only you can be today. I know I said that very slowly on purpose because I want you to show up. I need you to be visible and valuable and the powerful you that is you in this day that's called today. Not about being perfect, not about overthinking it, not about sometime. It's about right now. Pick up the phone, go live on whatever social media. Hi, my name is, and I'm here today to help you. If you know specifically, tell them what you're going to help them with. If you don't, say, how can I help you today? And let them tell you. And if you don't know how I can help you today, then let me know. I don't know how you can help me today, Steve, but help. Join the group. Hit me up. Text now. Commit to going live right now today. Now, do it now, now, now. Please. And thank you for doing it. And I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you. I hope that you know how valuable you are. And then until we're together again next time, you have a great week.